Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to race number 22 of the PCSRA Foster Series. After tonight's race here at the Duel in the Desert, we only have 4 more races left to go until we determine the 16 drivers that will battle out for this season's championship. I can tell you this. Desperation is starting to kick in for some drivers that really need to get something going, especially those that are outside the top 30 in the points, and their victories would not count for a spot in the playoffs. Danielle Witter, I think we can safely say, even if she were to go to victory lane, I don't think it's going to be enough for her to get herself in the top 30 in the points to have a win count for a playout berth, but she starts on the pole position, 36th in the points. I think she just needs to focus on just getting a win just to help what has been a horrible season for that 20 bunch. You can go away, Virus, because I don't really care about you. Carolina Bradley alongside. She is 9th in the points. A win for her. We get her in the playoffs. Grace Takayama in row 2. She's 18th in the points. And Tatiana Naguera in the 87, making another start this week. We have the same drivers that we had at Arizona last week, so that just makes it a little easier for me. Naguera is making her 7th start on the season. She is 37th in points, former winner this season from Nazareth. As you look at the rest of the starting lineup down there at the bottom of your screen, let's get these cars going. Make sure everyone's rolling off. We're using the 2011 Phoenix, and I have the AI down, so that way we're in good shape. On a big driver starting at the rear of the field, William Davis starting last. These are your points coming into today's race at Phoenix. Paul Minnick, the points leader by 16 points over S Ozkan. Emily Andersen, 18 points back in 3rd. Jacob Foster, 4th in the standings, 28 points back. 30 back, Alina Ricci, who's 5th. Zachary Fitzwater dropped 4 spots down to 6th in the standings. Mohammed Zain is 7th. Eric Stanbury jumped up 4 spots to 8th. Carolina Bradley is 9th. And Q-Man Quentin Moore completes the top 10, jumped 4 spots up after last week's race at Arizona. 125 laps in store for these drivers here today. And the race number 22 in the desert is underway. What's different about this version, this is a repaved version of Phoenix, but the sun has been beaming down on this track all day with no cloud cover. These cars are going to be having a slick racetrack. Passing going to be really a treacherous. You might want to get your passes done in turn number 1. Danielle Witter has led the first lap. Everyone did take the start, so we don't have to worry about drivers not taking the green flag. So that's one less problem we don't have to deal with. As Chase Brooks trying to get underneath the 20. See, this is what I was talking about. Turn 4 with that little bump there. It really is upsetting the car to where you can't make your passes made. You can pass in turn 1, but turn 4, getting off the corner, if you're not alongside of somebody, passing is going to be a problem. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that during the course of this 125 lap race. Going to be a very interesting race here this afternoon. By the way, the race is the Shriners Children's 500. That is the race name of this event. You'll just see the Shriners Children's 500. It used to be called Shriners Children's Hospital, but same team. Danielle Witter coming into this race has only led 48 laps. She's already passed 50 laps led this season, which is pretty incredible. Another driver I think we need to keep our eye on is this guy, Chase Brooks. He is 34th in the points. I think he's also in the same boat. Even if he does get a win, I really don't know if that's going to be enough for him to get in the top 30 in points. In fact, I don't think he's been in the top 30 in points for pretty much the entire season, if I'm not mistaken. So that's something I'd be a little bit concerned about. Looks like the AI is behaving nicely. I have it to 103 to where the AI is not causing a demolition derby, if you know what I mean. I want it to be a nice, good Phoenix race for a change. As apparently my charger's not wanting to work for some reason. Hold on. Charger's being stupid. Go figure. And you don't want to be on the charger for some apparent reason. I have to do this. Got a battle for the lead as the H trying to get a lap lead. He did. Can he get clear by the 20? 20 really going to make it difficult for the 8. As my charger is not working for some reason. I don't know what's really the deal with my phone charger. It's not one of those plug-in deals. It's the one that's on a pad. And I'm trying to get it to charge, and for some apparent reason, it wants to be a derping hyena and not want to charge. I did not ask for you to turn on, you stupid phone. As apparently we're having some charger problems, which we apologize, but someone didn't accept the apology. As Chase Brooks, by the way, took the lead from the 20, while I try to figure out what in the flip is up with my charger not wanting to charge my phone. Oh boy, I hate chargers not working. There we go. Charger wanted to be stupid with me. Hate stupid chargers. Jessica Miller, our Daytona 500 winner, now up to second. I'll go over the playoff standings in just a second. I was trying to put my phone on the charger. Jessica comes into this race 16th in the points, dropped one spot after last week's race at Arizona Speedway. Of course, like I said, we have the same 42 drivers that we had at Arizona Speedway last week that we have here this week, which is Marissa Semeny making her second start, made her debut last week. We still have Tatiana Guerra, Carmen Alejandra we still have, Eric Sadler we still have, Haley Anderson we have this week. Is there somebody else I'm forgetting? I think that's it. Let me make sure. Semeny. Brittany White we have. Eric Sadler, Carmen Alejandro, Tatiana Guerra, and Haley Anderson. Yep. Okay. Just want to make sure I didn't derp on that. Richard Childress Racing has yet to go to victory lane this season. They've really have had a struggling season so far. Chase, as I said, 34th in the points. William Davis dropped 6 spots to 28th in the points. So it's really not been a very good season for RCR. And of course, the playoff grid is incorrect. They're saying that the 16 is in the playoffs, but the problem is the 16 is not in the playoffs. So I don't know really what's going on with my playoff deal for some reason. Why it's telling me, oh, the 16's in the playoffs. 16's not in the playoffs. This is what your playoff grid looks like, and I will make sure this is correct because last week I tried to go over the playoff grid, and the NR2K3 deal told me the playoff grid was correct when it was completely incorrect. So there you go. So this is your playoff grid right now. We have Andersen, Ricci, Fitzwater, we know, have 2 wins. All are inside the top 10 in the points. Mathematically, they cannot fall out of the top 30 in points, barring if they finish 42nd 3 times. Let's see. We have Minnick, Foster, Zane, Quentin Moore, Riley Anderson, Jessica Parker, Kyle Langeland, Arena McShane, and Sam Davis. They would be the drivers that would get in on wins that are inside the top 30 in the points. So their wins would count for a playoff. The problem for Priya McShane, she is 1 point ahead of 30th in the standings. A poor finish for her here today at Phoenix. She's out of the top 30 in points just like that. Ponzo Albanese fell out of the top 30 in points. His win would not count for a playoff berth. He is the opposite. He is 1 point back of 30th in the standings, so he would need a good run to get back in the top 30 in the points. Right now, the drivers that would get in on points would be Ozkan, Eric Stanbury, Carolina Bradley, and Lucy Grainger. Because remember, the 16 is outside the top 30 in the points. I don't know why they have the 34 below the playoff cut line. That is incorrect. Unless NR2K3 doesn't know that that's a mistake. And I would have to recalculate those points. When we get to the playoffs, that won't be an issue. Almost, by the way, is 30 points back of 30th in the standings. For anyone asking. So that's your playoff grid. Ignore what it said in the description of last week's video because that is an incorrect mistake. That it would be Lucy Grainger because that would need to be fixed. Because remember, the 16 is outside the top 30 in the points. So, don't know why they still have the 16 in the top 30 in points, but that's just me. If the 16 has a good run, then it's correct. Caution for the first time today on lap 25. Wreck in turn number 1. And it's Cody Majoric. Almost is involved. That might be her playoff hopes done. Lot of damage to the Seabest. She could not ill afford a bad result. Kyle Langeland, Quentin Moore's on pit road. Lot of damage. Maddie Crenshaw, Sean Ard, Dylan Ibrahimian. Oh, we've had a big wreck. CJ Bracken involved. This Ponzo's got damage. That is not what Ponzo Albanese needed. Remember, he's trying to get back in the top 30 in the points. And everyone's coming to pit road. Now, this brings up my next question before we look at the replay. Can they make it the rest of the way? Something tells me they can't. But while these drivers are making pit stops, let's jump back, look at a replay to find out what brought out our first caution of the day here at Phoenix. It starts with Dylan Ibrahimian, and apparently he had a mechanical problem that dropped on his 54. Bam! There it goes. And unfortunately, I think Sean got into his oil and just ran to back and nowhere for him to go. Samad Ozkan got a piece. Troy King somewhat got a piece. There's where Maddie Crenshaw gets involved. There's the 77, Brittany White. Alina Ricci was involved. There's where Ponzo got hit. Langeland, Almas, all just come piling in there. Boy, that was a big wreck that really could have been avoided. And yes, there is damage on the 16. That is not what he needed for Ponzo. Oh, we had another wreck. Oh, this is the Troy King deal. What happened here? Okay, so this would explain. Yeah, I like to know why you would wreck your teammate there, Troy. That was uncalled for there, son. Troy King just got loose and completely wiped out Q-Man for absolutely no reason. That was uncalled for on the 7. That's not going to be a fun meeting over at a colleague after that one. So not colleague, excuse me, Spire. But anyway, that's what brought out the first caution of the day. Let's head to the restart here in Phoenix. Going to go back to green on lap 30 of 125. Chase Brooks is the leader. Daniel Wooder second. Jessica Parker in third. Emily Anderson fourth. Alex Hawkins is fifth. Riley Anderson sixth. Grace Takayama seventh. Tatiana Guerra eighth. Ninth is Eric Sadler, and Priya McShane complete the top 10. Again, Priya comes into this race 1 point back of 30th or ahead of 30th in the standings, excuse me. Albanese is 1 point behind 30th. I got those two mixed up, so there you go. Drivers out after this instinct. Quentin Moore, Almas. I think that's going to end Almas's chances of making the playoffs. Even if she gets a second win, I really don't think that's going to be enough for her to get in the top 30 in points. So I think Almas's playoff hopes are done. Cody Majoric, Maddie Crenshaw, Senor Sean, and Dylan Ibrahimian out of the race. That is 6 drivers that got taken out in that wreck. Green flag back in the air. Tough break for a number of those drivers out of the race. Okay, now my charger's starting to work. Quentin Moore, 10th in the points. Troy King's been called to the Foster's hauler after the race for that questionable incident with his teammate. That's going to be a fun meeting at Spire Motorsports after this race is over. Cody Majoric came into this race in that critical 30th in the standings. This may actually be good for Ponzo Albanese, because as I said, he was 1 point back of the cut line, and with the 77 who came in this race at critical 30th in the standings, according to my light points, Ponzo Albanese may be in the top 30 in the points, and his win would count again for a spot in the playoffs. I don't think he's got that bad of a damage, but we'll have to double check on that. Maddie Crenshaw, 26 in the points. Senor Sean, 14th in points, and Dylan Ibrahimian dropped 3 spots to 21st in the points. He's going to continue to free fall through the points, leaving this race. Let's check here. Alina Ricci back here at the rear of the field. Came into this race 4th in points, or check that, 5th in points, 4th in the Rookie of the Year standings. That's the part I got mixed up on. Kyle Langeland, 17th in the points. Not the run he was hoping for. CJ Bracken. There is some damage on the leaf filter Chevrolet. And as I said, Albanese. Oh, he just got it. Oh, he got turned by CJ. And Ricky gets involved. Is that a caution? Yes is the answer. The caution is out. That's another trouble spot off of turn 4. I wasn't going to jinx him. I was just talking about... I was just getting ready to talk about Albinus until he got turned by CJ for wonder if CJ's car got tight or something, because there'd be no other reason why. Oh, and plus he's got damage. I don't think his damage really is helping him at all. Yellow's out for the second time today. Let's go back and take a look at a replay to see what happened. I was just getting ready to talk about Ponzo Albanese, how he didn't have a lot of damage on his car until CJ did this. Just turns the leaf filter Chevrolet. I think that's karmic retribution for Troy Kang for what he did to his teammate. And also CJ slapped the outside wall. I don't know how K Langeland got through that, and Alina Ricci gets a piece, and she goes up and gets the wall for good measure. And that is what brought out the yellow. And I think with spinning cars on the front straightaway, the officials definitely had no choice but to throw the caution. But karmic retribution for Troy Kang, 15th in the points, and we'll have to see how bad the damage is. And it looks like the 16 is going to have to get some damage repaired as the caution's out for the second time today. Let's head to the restart here at Phoenix. Lap 39, we will go back to green as Chase Brooks is the leader, Daniel Witter in second, Jessica Parker third, Emily Anderson fourth, Tatiana Guerra fifth, Riley Anderson sixth, in car six, ironically, Alex Hawkins seventh, Grace Takayama eighth, Eric Sadler, Priya McShane complete the top 10, and the honorable mention, Jacob Foster in 11th. Nobody out of the race from that incident. A lot of drivers had to come to pit road to repair some damage like the 16. Chase Brooks now the race leader. Chase Brooks right now the leader. Daniel Witter now in second. Good run for Tatiana Guerra. Jessica Parker, our Daytona 500 winner, having a quiet run. As Daniel Witter right now in second. Let's check back here. Yeah, Ricky's off the pace. Langeland already had the hood removed. And there's Ponzo Albanese back here in 34th. Banco Seaman not having the run he was hoping for in 32nd. Or now 33rd. Troy King got around him. Carmen Alejandro. There's Brittany White in the 67. Rena McShane. Marissa Semeny making her second start, made her debut last week at Arizona, which, by the way, this guy went to victory lane, Sam Davis. which Sam Davis got himself in the top 30 in the points. And he jumped up 5 spots to 24th in the standings. That's the good news. The bad news is Sam is only 22 points ahead of 30th in the standings. But with the cut line driver out of the race, he's continuing to work his way to the front. There's Summit Ozkan. Yeah, he's got a little bit of a hood buckle on his Shell Pennzoil Dodge, racing with his teammate Carolina Bradley. Carolina Bradley still looking for her first win of her career. Same with Lucy Granger. As Chase Brooks is currently scampering away. Chase Brooks needs a win to build some confidence going into next season because, as I said, it has not been the best of seasons for Chase Brooks. Chase Brooks really just pulling away. Battle for second between the two ladies, Riley Andersen and Daniel Witter, or Danielle Witter, excuse me. It is 77 degrees. Wind's blowing around 5 to 10 miles an hour. But it is sunny. Track temperature about Probably 100. Of course, as I'm recording this, my hedgehog daughter, who's with Cody Smart's son, Green Jr., they just got home from school. Glad they're okay. We're also getting ready to near the midway point of this race. They're also going to be worrying about lap traffic. There's Ricky, and of course, she was fifth in points coming into this race. Oh, got a wreck. Brittany White around. Also, the 51 involved. The caution is out. Eric Stanbury's involved. Emily Andersen involved. That's third in points. I forgot to mention Summit, who was involved in that first yellow. That was second. Well, right on cue, I was getting ready to talk about Summit Ozkan. That's second in points. Muhammad Zain's on pit road. Well, right on cue, I was getting ready to bring that up. But the third caution of the day is out. Right at the midway point of this race. Now let's see if they go ahead, just take the gamble of just taking tires. Looks like they are. Looks like they are not going to chance it. I think that was the right move on them not chancing it. So while they're making pit stops, let's jump back, look at a replay to figure out what caused our third caution of the day here at Phoenix as we're at the halfway point of this race. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to demonstrate the sentence arc of brakes at its best. See, the 19's got a problem. He slowed way down and just gets annihilated by Emily Andersen. That's what checks everybody up. Jesse Art is the one who spins the 60. Summit goes into the wall. Brittany White had nowhere to go. She runs into the Arby's 4. There's where Eric Stanbury gets some damage off the 60 as well as the 30 or the 51. And a lot of damage to Summit Ozkan. I was just talking about third in points involved. Well, you can add second in points involved in this wreck. So the caution is out for the third time today. We're going to have some more drivers out of the race as we're heading to the restart here at Phoenix. Just past halfway here at Phoenix International Raceway. Chase Brooks is the leader. Riley Anderson in second. Muhammad Zain might have a little talking with the stewards why he completely arc brake Emily Andersen. He's now in third, but a lot of damage on his Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. Fourth is Eric Sadler. Tatiana Guerra fifth. Jessica Parker just blew up. She was going to restart sixth. Now we'll go to Jacob Foster. Grace Takayama would be seventh. Priya McShane, Lucy Granger, and now Paul Minnick will now be in the top 10. So Jessica Parker, unfortunately, her day is going to be done. And we are back to green flag racing here. Drivers out from this incident as our first lap car we've had all day. Brittany White, Emily Andersen, Samad Ozkan now out of the race, and you can now add the 48 of Jessica Parker to the list. We'll figure out what let go on her machine. Those drivers will join Quinton Moore, Dina Almas, Cody Majorek, Maddie Crenshaw, Sean Ard and Dylan Ibrahimian all back behind the wall. It was a header that let go on the 48 of Jessica Parker. I should say, Cody, right now we're just having a little chat. Good run for Jacob Foster in the 11. Jacob Foster. Didn't know he was a part of Canada, which I just didn't find out until I was doing researching, but it's cool. Jacob Foster from New Brunswick, which is in Canada. That's like well east of Canada. He is one of two drivers from Canada, the other being Jacob Tutu. Of course, he's from Montreal. Good run for Chase. Oh no, he's led that number. Dang, dang. Good run for Chase Brooks in the number 8. He has more than likely been the dominant driver in this race. Second is now Lucy Grainger. Ponzo is now up to 28th. Remember, 1 point ahead of the cut line. I think he'll be above the cut line right now. 32 drivers on track, 31 of them on the lead lap. Ibrahimian, Sean Ard, Maddie Crenshaw, Cody Majorek, Adina Almas, and Quinton Moore, Q-Man, were all checked and released from the medical center during that green flag run. White, Andersen, Ozkan are currently in the medical center right now, since they are currently being checked out. Jessica Parker's already climbed out of her car in the garage area, so tough break for Jessica Parker. Lucy Grainger would like to get her first career win. Lauren Ekstrom has got to be very proud of Lucy Grainger, no matter if she makes the playoffs or not. And the same thing with Carolina Bradley. Got to be proud. Riley Andersen just made an unscheduled pit stop. Not sure what's up on the 6. As Lucy Grainger looking the inside of the Cheddar Chevrolet. Grainger is inside the top 30 in points. A win for her would lock her spot into the playoffs. And yes, she's well ahead of the 30th in the standings cut line because remember, she's getting closer to being in the top 10. So if she does win this race, Lucy Grainger, that is, she would be mathematically eliminated from falling out of the top 30 in the points as she's trying to get by Chase Brooks. Just talked about trying to make this pass. You got to make it perfect. You got to be clear coming off of turn number 2. But they're still side by side. That's going to allow third place Mohammed Zain to catch up, despite I don't know how the hell he's still up to speed with the rear end all caved in on his machine. And there goes Lucy Grainger to the race lead. New leader, the Love's Travel Stops and Country Stores Dodge out of Front Row Motorsports. Lucy would definitely be another new winner. She was 9 points below the playoff cut line, but it might be more because of the fact that the 16 was outside the top 30 in the points. Very good job to Lucy Grainger. Been very impressive, this young lady. I mean, like I said, just learning a lot from her sister, Samantha. And Lucy's really done a good job of handling the pressure. We've had a lot of first-time winners. Lucy Grainger would be another driver that would be a first-time winner. Like I said, she's 12th in points. As I said, if she wins this race, not only she'll be in the top 10 of the points, I think she will be eliminated from dropping out of the top 30 in points, barring 3 bad finishes. So I think Lucy's really done a good job with this 34 bunch. Right now, the 16, as Chase Brooks is looking the inside. 16th is the 16 Aponzo Albanus running in 26. We're going to have to see where 26 would situate him. I mean, he would be 1 point he would be 1 point above the cut line, or he was 1 point below the cut line of 30, excuse me. As Lucy Grainger did hold off Chase Brooks. Now they're going to lap Scarlett Wallace. First time they've had lap traffic today. Looks like Scarlett's not going to hold up Lucy Grainger. Let's take an onboard of Lucy Grainger to see what it's like to race at Phoenix International Raceway. You can tell on that onboard, that little bump off of turn number 4, when you're driving it, when you're driving on this track, and like I said, I've raced at this track numerous times in other series, especially this repaved track. Trying to make a pass entering 3 is really going to be difficult, but you need to get that driver cleared coming off of turn 2, because it could take you almost the entire track to get around, make some passes. The last thing Lucy Grainger wants to see is a caution right now. Priya right now running in 14th. Arena running in 18th. Those are two gals that are hovering right near the 30th in the standings. In particular, Priya, that's a well-needed run for Priya to get away from 30th in the standings. And Arena came into this race 23 points ahead of 30th in the standings. I think this will get her also away from 30th in the standings. Sam Davis running in 6th. Great run for him. 1 week removed from his first win on the season. This will also get him away from 30th in the standings, start building that cushion between himself and the cut line. And if Lucy Grainger goes to victory lane, we would have possibly 14 spots locked up as far as the playoffs is concerned, because it's going to depend on whether or not the 16 is going to be back in the top 30 in points. That would be Albinus. So that's something we'll have to keep our eye on during the course of the regular season, as Eric Stanbury currently going a lap down. He's got no hood on his Monster Energy Chevy. Moves out Lucy Grainger's way. Lucy Grainger ran some Craftsman Truck Series starts. She is going to also try to attempt to qualify for Season 3 in the Winston Cup Series. Let me see if she does have a Winston Cup ride. If not, she's going to go for a Busch ride, which wouldn't hurt for her. Let's see. And I don't think she has a ride that is referring to Lucy Grainger. Might be driving that might be trying to find a ride to get her. But of course, remember, Lucy Grainger going to have to qualify her way into the show. Of course, don't forget, if you've not joined the Discord, the link to the Discord's down in the description below. K Langeland will be the next driver to go a lap down. Kyle's had a rough day today. Got involved in that first incident, has not been the same ever since in this race. Chase Brooks has led the most laps today. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be an L for him. As Lucy Grainger just cruising as usual, just trying to take care of her tires. Good run for Eric Sadler in 3rd. William Davis having a good run. Daniel Witter, even though she's already been eliminated from the playoffs, still having a great run after having a struggling season. Priya McShane running in 11th. That's a good run for her, or now 12th, but that's still a good run for her. Get her away from 30th in the standings. She just needs some good runs so that way she can confirm herself as one of the 16 drivers battling in the chase. The only one I'd be questioning is the 16 of Ponzo Albanese, because he came in this race 1 point below 30th in the standings. He did finish ahead of the driver he was trying to run down for 30th in the standings. He's also ahead of other drivers as far as that's concerned. We're going to have to see where 26 is going to situate him going into this race, as we have 32 drivers, like I said, in the race. Now 28 on the lead lap. Right now, as things stand, 10 drivers will not reach the conclusion of this race. As Lucy Grainger just trying to hang on to get her first career win. Don't know if I brought this up or not, but Lucy Grainger will, along with several other people in the possibly gonna get Lucy Grainger a Buffalo Wild Wings Series ride when I do the return. It's only gonna be 20 races for the Buffalo Wild Wings Series for the revamp, because we're running the 2015 cars. Because I have a full grid, by the way, for drivers to get rides and all that, yada yada yada. Which that won't be an issue. So it'll be 20 races we're going to have for the revamped Buffalo Wild Wings Series season. Just going to take one series at a time. We're going to use the NXS 15 mod. And the 26 is going to run about 5 races apiece, which is good for me. Planning on running. For me, I'm only going to run 5 historical tracks. Going to run the season opener. Going to run Indy, Charlotte. Don't know what other tracks I'm going to run. Which, yes, we're going to have 20 races for Buffalo Wild Wings Series. Which I will start that up after this series is done. Which I still need to finish working on the Buffalo Wild Wings Series schedule before too long. The good thing is, for the Buffalo Wild Wings Series, 2 of my drivers not running for the championship because they'll be ineligible. I know a lot of people have asked me, why am I running part-time in my own series? It's because, well, one, I want to be respectful and not R-word my own league and all that. Because I'm not going to be like Nathan Stapleton, who allows his drivers to run full-time and all that. I only run part-time in this because of my other commitments I have. And Lucy Grainger, by the way, will be driving the number 20 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing in the Buffalo Wild Wings Series, replacing the now banned Sarah Fogelman. So I bet Lucy really excited to have an opportunity to race in the Buffalo Wild Wings Series. Of course, we're only going to have I think we're only going to have a 40 car field. And the caution is out. Caution is out. That was not what Lucy Grainger wanted to see. Jesse Ard is the reason for the caution. Oh boy, this changes everything. Caution is out here at Phoenix. Let's jump back, look at a replay to find out why Jesse's involved. Jesse's had trouble in the late stages here at Phoenix. Jesse was running 13th at the time of this. And it looks like mechanical problems are going to take her, sadly, out of this race. You couldn't see it from the sign there, but engine blew up, and she should have came down pit road, but she passed the commitment cone. And unfortunately, because she's going to stop in the middle of the track, the officials had no choice but to throw the caution. And that's what brought out this caution here at Phoenix. And Jesse's day, unfortunately, going to be done. Of course, she will be joining her brother, Sean, back in the garage area out of the race. So the yellow is out again. Let's head to the restart here at Phoenix to see who's going to win this race here in the desert. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by the authority of the World Racing Association, the Blue Hedgehog TV, for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction or rebroadcast or retransmit or any other disseminations or the use of this broadcast without the express written consent of the World Racing Association is prohibited. Blue Hedgehog TV, the World Racing Association, want to thank you fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. Grainger is the leader. Hartnett is a lap down. Chase Brooks second. Third is Eric Sadler. Fourth, Sam Davis. Jacob Foster in fifth. Daniel Witter is sixth. Seventh is William Davis. Tatiana Nagora eighth. Quiet run for Haley Anderson Jr. in ninth. And Carmen Alejandro complete top 10. So good run for a couple of go or go home drivers that we don't see on a regular basis. It was a broken clutch on Jesse's car that sadly took her out. The good news is Jesse beat Sean. The bad news is both of them are out. As Grainger got off the line, I think they were having trouble. Oh, they're wrecking! Haley Andersen on the wall! Minnick's involved. We're wrecking. Oh, the big one at Phoenix. Lot of cars involved. Caution is out. All hell is broken loose. Fitzwater's involved. Scarlett Wallace again. What in the hell was that all about? Seaman, Takayama, Bracken, Ricci. What a shame for Haley Andersen. Troy Kang again. Gitirokh. My God. That was right after the restart. Caution's out again. Let's jump back, look at a replay to see what happened. Well, I don't know what to say about this, as Eric Sadler is going to run in the Manuel Hartnett and just dump the 17 right in front of most of the field. Daniel Witter gets a piece. She was having a great run. Haley Andersen got stuff in the wall. The points leader got a piece. Carolina Bradley led a good part. And everybody just comes piling in here, not knowing, wow, 41 didn't use the brake pedal. We've already had enough carnage, and well, guess we're not done wrecking some more cars. But my goodness, a lot of drivers who came in running well in points in this did not need something like this to happen. That's a tough break for the 20. Was having a great run. A lot of damage on the DeWalt Chevrolet. I don't know how up to speed she will be. We'll find that out as we're going to head to the restart here at Phoenix. It'll be a 3-lap shootout to finish off today's race, as Grainger still leads. Sam Davis now second. Chase Brooks, William Davis, Jacob Foster rounds out your top 5. Daniel Witter, we'll see if she's up to speed. Priya's up to 7th. Sadler, Noguera, and Alejandro will now complete your top 10. Drivers out from this incident: Grace Takayama, Haley Andersen Jr. Tough break for Haley Andersen. Was having a great run in the top 10. Got taken out. Zachary Fitzwater, didn't talk much about him. He was having an okay day. Got taken out. CJ Bracken, Alina Ricci, all out of the race after that big wreck on the back straightaway. Hate to see a lot of torn up cars out of the race this late in the event. As we're going to go back to green, 3 laps to go. Green flag back in the air. Next caution that comes out will end this race under the yellow. Sam Davis trying to get his second win on the season and second in a row. Make sure everybody's behaving better this time around. Hartnett's off the pace. Gitirokh just was on pit road, so Gitirokh's going to be out of contention for a good result. Not sure why he came to pit road, as we're going to have 25, or we're going to check that. We're going to have 26 drivers finish this race. 19 of them looks like on the lead lap, as here we come to the white flag. One more lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. My goodness, what a race this has been. Going to really play a factor in this points, with now 4 races left to go in the regular season. But here comes the 34 of Lucy Grainger. She's going playoff racing. Lucy Grainger wins the Shriner Children's 500 here today at Phoenix. I think we may just confirm Lucy Grainger a spot in the Foster's chase for the championship, as we will have 4 tough races left to go, which is a prize of the Glen, Michigan, Hillside, and April. That will determine who will be the 16 drivers that will battle in the championship. Davis will get second. Grainger best of the rookies, by the way. Chase Brooks, William Davis, Jacob Foster will complete the top 5. Sam, 1 week removed from his first win on the season, came as race 24th in the points. This will definitely get him in the top 20 and also away from 30th in the standings. The RCR boys, well-needed runs for them. William Davis to stop the bleeding. Chase Brooks, not the season he's been having, but well-needed runs for those drivers. that are struggling. Jacob Foster came into this race fourth in the points. And let's see, he was a total of 28 points. He's going to gain some points on the points leader, Paul Minnick, heading into next week's race at the Glen. Priya McShane, sixth place. That's going to get her away from 30th in the standings. Great run from her. Eric Sadler got seventh. Tatiana Nagore, eighth. Daniel Witter led a good part of the early stages of this race. Had to sell for ninth, a well-needed top 10 run. She has not had the best of seasons. And Carmen Alejandra, a great run for a non-charter driver. Go or go home, non-charter, you get the point. Completes the top 10. Jackie Ting got 11th. Mohammed Zain, 12th. Great run for Arena McShane. Well-needed run for a driver trying to get away from 30th in the standings. And 13th is good. That will definitely get her in the top 20 points, get her away from that cut line of 30th. Marissa Semeny, one of her best races of the season, not one of her best finishes in her short career. Good run for her. And Alex Hawkins complete the top 15. Ponzo Albanese was 16th, enough to get him back in the top 30 in points. I think the answer is yes, because he was about to finish, I think, 29th or 26th before that last big wreck that took place. So talk about trying to fight for diversity, and good result for him as he is trying to get himself back in the top 30 in points. I think 16th would be good enough. We'll have to see what the points will be between himself and that cut line. That last caution really changed the complexion of race, and sadly, a lot of drivers ended up getting caught up in that big wreck. Riley Anderson had that unscheduled pit stop, but managed to complete 20th. Not sure why D Gitirokh came to pit road in the closing stages, unless he jumped the restart. He finishes 22nd. Carolina Bradley led a good part of this race, one lap down in 23rd. Tough break for her. Eric Stanbury got involved in one of our cautions we had. Same with Emmanuel Hartnett, Scarlett Walls. They finished multiple laps down in 24th, 25th, 26th. Everybody else did not reach the conclusion of the race. The only two drivers that were not damage-related was Jesse Ard and Jessica Parker, and also Dylan Ibrahimian. Even though he got damage on his car, everybody else was damage-related. That sadly took them out of this race. So I bet you Phoenix has really played a part in this point shakeup with 4 races to go. And for drivers like Almas, I really think that might have just ended her chances of making it into the playoffs. I think one more DNF or a poor finish, I think Almas will now be eliminated. Even if she gets a second win, I don't think it's going to be enough for her to get in the top 30 in the points to have that win count for a playoff berth. So that will be a tough break for Almas. But we want to congratulate Lucy Grainger on her first career win here in the Foster Series. And hope you enjoyed this wreckfest, but really calm race, to say the least. If you did, be sure to give this video a like. Subscribe to become part of the World Racing Association crew today. We've shown your full finisher results. Your point standings are down in the description as a result of today's race here at the Phoenix International Raceway. We're heading to upstate New York next week for some road course racing. Now for our studio engineer, that is the YouTuber. I'm Dean DeVos. Thank you for joining me and saying good night from Avondale, Arizona. Coming up next, we'll rejoin the Infinity Network Sports Studios programming already in progress. We'll talk to you next week from upstate New York. You've been watching the Foster Series on the World Racing Association's Multimedia Network.